D-line.
All right.
Jamin Davis makes the roster. Whatever happens in the regular season, I think it's a cool story of a guy.
Yeah.
Here's what we know, Brian. There's been a few first-round picks from the previous regime that have been challenged.
Yep.
One of them is now in Philadelphia, and one of them's here playing a new position.
Yep.
Some of life is how you respond to challenges.
Totally.
Jamin Davis, their rookie.
All of life is how you do it.
That's true. Javonte Jean-Baptiste makes this roster. In a lot of ways, they kind of picked their rookie over last year's rookie, KJ Henry.
Yeah.
That's just how the cookie crumbles, man. KJ looked good last year in spurts. He did have the sack in the preseason finale. I think KJ's a good player. I think he lacks explosive get-off at the line of scrimmage. Maybe that's something they think JJB has. JJB definitely has more length. They're different body types, Henry and Javonte Jean-Baptiste. And ultimately, they just drafted this guy. So they're going to try to keep him around.
Keep your guy.
Right. Going down the roster here. John Ridgeway, apparently there was some trade interest there. Dorrance Armstrong, they paid him actual guaranteed money into a second season. He was always going to be here. Allen, always going to be here. Payne, always going to be here. Johnny Newton, second rounder, always going to be here, but maybe that has some wiggle room. Johnny Newton has hardly, if at all, practiced since he was drafted. Played last year at University of Illinois with the foot issue. Arrives here, his other foot is hurt. Needs a procedure on that. Now we're hearing it's a soft tissue thing that's keeping him out. If you got to create a roster spot and you've got this really valuable rookie that you're thinking about a long-term career with, a second-round pick, maybe that's a potential way to create some space. You do short-term IR, keep it moving. I'm not saying that's definitively what's going to happen, but
you're guesstimating.
I'm certainly keeping an eye on Johnny Newton and Brandon Coleman as they're going to try to create roster space. Wow. The Panthers claimed Castro Fields from Washington. When is the last time?
That's one.
That's one.
Remember what we say? Was it 1.5 or 2?
We were just saying guys that might get signed, let alone get claimed.
Yeah. So it's already one.
That's one. The Panthers are going hard.
And they're getting all defensive players. That's 4 defensive players right there, right?
Yeah.
3 of them were corners.
Sheriff, Bartholomew. Sheriff's a linebacker, maybe an edge rusher. Bartholomew's a corner. Castro Fields is obviously a corner. Wow. All right. Good for Tarek. I thought he looked okay. And Dan Quinn went out of his way to talk him up. That's one of those things that I find interesting.
But sometimes you fall in love with a person early, and then all of a sudden
you talked about the Castro Fields like last week.
Yeah, but still. Before the game, after the game.
Before the
last game.
Before the Pats game, yeah.
Yeah. So somebody probably just took that edge then.
Panthers claiming John Radigan from Seattle.
You know what it was?
That's another linebacker.
Castro Fields was the runner from Jamaica. Thought he had the 100.
Got to keep running.
Boom. Noah came right past him.
I don't think it's that. I lean more towards they're going to be playing a lot of safeties, so they kept more safeties. Dude, I think Carolina's added like 5 players right now, and they're all defensive players.
Yeah, they got 3 corners. What are the corners on their team right now thinking? Like, damn, we were that bad?
They're thinking they're going to get cut. All right. We are waiting to hear what Washington is going to do here. Stay tuned, folks. It's coming out kind of. So first Carolina has to go, then Washington gets to go. We're all kind of. I am very, very curious, man. The Jets, the Panthers added 5 players all on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think they're going that deep. I don't think Washington's going 5. Do you?
I don't know. I'm thinking right around, I said 2 to 3.
All right. Whoever they add, though, like it's fun to have the conversation of who they should go get. Who the hell are you going to cut? Would a Ridgeway trade still make sense? Because you kept Phil Mathis. Would you cut Phil Mathis? I don't know.
I'm going to tell you right here. Whoever they keep, it's going to be the guy that they feel more comfortable with, because this team right here, they They make their moves according to what's best for the team.
I mean, you freaking hope so. I
Yep.
mean, that's kind of running a team 101, right?
Yep. Well,
You find the guys you
we've
like.
seen teams not do it like that.
I am fascinated. D-line, the guys that I think maybe you could create spots with, whatever you take Johnny Newton's situation. Bill Mathis may have been the last guy on that roster. Maybe you trade away Ridgeway for a future asset. I don't know. Pretty interesting. Linebacker. Luvu was always on this roster. Dante Fowler, I'd say, was always on this roster.
Yep.
They love listing him as a linebacker, even though I think he's an edge rusher.
The linebackers rush.
Sure. Michael Walker's a story I love. That's a kid I identified early in camp.
Remember, I kept getting confused thinking he was the cornerback.
Right. Because, and the jerseys they wear make it pretty damn hard to see the numbers, frankly. But 32, long, lean guy. I don't know how firm that roster spot is. I'm going to be honest about that. But when they talk about they want a violent downhill player, that's him. And I think when Jordan McGee going to IR, I think that helps a lot, frankly, for Mike Walker to make the roster. I would put Mike Walker, though, in a rent don't buy situation as waivers are going to hit here. Dominique Hampton was a safety at Washington. He makes the roster as a linebacker. Are you surprised by that, B?
You say which?
Hampton, the rookie.
I think they wanted him on the roster. He's a safety, and we've seen safeties. What's the guy from Chicago?
Urlacher.
Urlacher was a safety.
Right.
He's a safety move. We've seen safeties move to down, and he's a big boy. So I think that maybe, just maybe, he is tougher in the run game and not as much a cover guy. So they said we want to keep him on this team because the undrafted kid he took one of those spots.
Tyler Owens messed a bunch of stuff up. All right, Panthers ain't done yet. Per Mike K, Charlotte Observer, Panthers are getting rid of Jalen Coker. So this is how they're going to make their roster spots. Like some of these guys that broke through, guys are going to get cut, which makes this more interesting with Washington. This isn't exactly the draft. They're not on the clock in that there's a ticking, if they get past 15 minutes, they lose their spot, but they're kind of on the clock. So everybody pay attention. Yep. I would certainly say, Brian, Dominique Hampton, I'm putting in rent, don't buy too. Like, you're a rookie. You're maybe a positional tweener. They like you. They're going to try to make this work. But if a lot happens and there's people they like and Coleman's going to be ready so they can't IR him. Johnny Newton's going to be ready so they can't IR him. Something to watch. I think for both Walker and Hampton, it's an interesting spot.
Yeah. But both of those guys, Walker played well.
Walker played well.
So I'm saying he could be a guy that I don't think he's just was a move to make the move to bring somebody.
I also think you kind of need a traditional linebacker behind Bobby Wagner, and I think Walker is. I don't know that. Like, obviously, Luvu and Wagner are established as what they are. The rest of these dudes, Fowler is more of a edge setter, pass rusher. Hampton, played on the back line in college, and maybe he can learn this, but can he learn it that fast? Like, you do need probably at least another backer. It's kind of interesting that they cut the guy from Detroit, Pittman. Yeah. He had been primarily a special teamer. And maybe with the new kick rules, backers aren't as important. Maybe he just didn't play well. DBs. Samerstill, Chin, Forbes, Noah, Igbenogany. Did I say that right? Igbenogany. Quan, Defoe, Mike Davis, BSJ, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, Tyler Owen. They were always making it category. Samerstill, Chin, Forbes, Quan, Davis, BSJ. That's a lot of safeties, OB.
6 of them.
That's a lot. I don't know. Defoe kind of dealt with a little bit of an injury, but then he got back on the field.
Thing about Quan, though, Quan is a tweener. Quan can play both of them.
Yep.
Safety and corner.
Well, and Chin can kind of play linebacker.
Yeah, so I just think that the way it was constructed previously, we got to let this take hold. I don't think it's going to be like it was exact numbers for every position with this crew.
Well, dude, when they were in Dallas, the way Dallas would drop their initial 53 was wacky. It was like, all right, we know we got to get here. We're going to, I mean, sometimes they would have like 2 running backs. Some years they'd have 5. I mean, Cleveland, the Browns just broke camp with 4 quarterbacks and apparently might be trying to trade Jameis Winston. I don't know what that looks like. But there is a lot of moving parts right now in the NFL.